Welcome, 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 welcome. So, for those of you who are old enough to remember the Hunger Games, don't worry, this isn't it. So, we took a break. We took a break in July, and we are back with a new series of Test My Pitch. I'm very, very glad that this evening we're going to be joined by 3 startups, but 2 jury members. Sadly, we had a jury member that couldn't make it this evening. We hope she gets well very, very soon. So first and foremost, I am really thrilled that you're all joining from the different platforms. This evening we'll be streaming directly on LinkedIn and YouTube. My Facebook got hacked not that long ago, so to all you hackers out there, please don't do it. It's actually rather inconvenient. So without any further ado, we are going to first and foremost introduce the jury members. And we have got Philippe Vostolot, who is now on the phone. And we have got Mirko Martignon. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Philippe.
You're very, very welcome. So we're going to go through a quick round of introduction, because as I said, we've got 3 startups this evening. And so we're going to have 20 minutes per startup. And you have very kindly chosen to spend a part of your evening with us. So let's start with a round of introduction. Mirko, would you like to give a short presentation about who you are, what you do, and anything else you want to share with our lovely audience?
Yeah, sure. I'll try to keep it quick. I'm Mirko Martignon. I'm a computer engineer. I'm the co-founder, one of the co-founders of Roommate, a property management platform here in Luxembourg. We take care of the relationship between the landlords and the tenants, providing the landlords a suite of digital products in order for them to speed up all of the operation of the management. My background is mainly on coding, because I've been coding all my life long, more or less. And yeah, that's my super quick intro.
Absolutely perfect. Short, sweet. And this actually already demonstrates that you can be a developer and be good on camera. So welcome. Very good. Thank you very much for that. Philippe, would you like to introduce yourself?
Definitely. My name is Philippe. I am a circular economy activist. I'm a psychologist and a fashion entrepreneur based in Luxembourg. We sell circular fashion items. What do I do? You just saw me on the phone, so I keep busy. I sell my products. I do my fair share of pitching. I'm used to being on the other side. I love it. So public speaking, circular economy, and of course, fashion. I'm super excited to be here. Thanks, Philip, for inviting me. And if I can say one thing to the 2 of you who are pitching, have fun. Have a ton of fun. I am actually jealous, and I can't wait to hear you both.
Don't worry, we'll have you on the other side as well.
I hope so. I hope so.
Well, I tell you what, let's call each other afterwards, and you'll be on the next. Now you've put me out to the challenge.
Good.
Very cool. So we're going to go, and I'm going to take you off the stream, but don't go anywhere. You are going to carry on seeing us, and 1 and 2, and we are going to start with our good friend, and those in the Luxembourg ecosystem will know this fine gentleman, Matteo Ressa. I can already hear all the applause around.
Oh, yeah, round of applause already.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I don't have that button. Yeah, I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much for having me here tonight.
You're very, very welcome. I've actually been hunting you down, and for the last few episodes, because Matteo and we know each other, and I've been saying you absolutely have to come and pitch, because he's working on some pretty cool things. I won't say that I'm slightly biased, but this evening you're going to be introducing us to Chef Passport. I'm not going to give too much away. I am going to remind everybody of the rules. You're the first and certainly not the last. So you're going to have up to 10 minutes to pitch. And because you have 20 minutes in total, if you take 7 minutes to pitch, you get 13 minutes worth of feedback. The whole point of Test My Pitch is really for you to be able to come and experience what it's like to pitch in real life conditions, but with there being almost zero risk, in the sense that we are all here to help you make your pitch super, super impactful. And just a word of just a reminder, in your particular case, you're going to be pitching your pitch as if you were speaking with clients. Okay, so everybody in the audience, and this is our first learning for this evening, when you're pitching, your pitch needs to be tailored to the audience that you have in front of you. And this evening, Matteo has decided to treat us to his customer-facing pitch. That means that he's not raising funds, so don't expect him to start talking about profitability and return on investment and all of that. Tonight, he's going to be focusing on the customer. That puts everybody in the right space. So without any further ado, I'm going to put your presentation on the feed. I am going to take myself off the feed so that there are no distractions. You have up to 10 minutes. I'm going to be the master of time. When you get to 9.5 minutes, I will reappear on the feed. So if you see my beautiful face, you know that you need to start wrapping up. Okay?
Absolutely. I will.
All good. Right.
Well,
so
thank you very much, Philip. And good morning, afternoon, everyone. Imagine for a moment the heart of your home, the kitchen. And now picture the evolution of the world around us, with technology touching every facet of our lives. But has it truly revolutionized our culinary experiences? Today, we are not just introducing a company, but we are unveiling a movement where tradition meets technology, where every meal tells a story and every dish is a journey. Welcome to Chef Passport, where we are driving the future of digital cooking transformation. At Chef Passport, we have embarked in a unique journey, intertwining the power of technology, the warmth of traditional cooking, and the inspiration of global culture. We are on a mission to make worldwide cooking knowledge interactive and universally accessible. And we are not just making another app. We are reimagining the culinary experiences for the digital age. We are pioneers in a space where few have ventured and where none have blended those three words quite like we do. We are proudly a local company with a global mindset, and this stems from a personal story. Because 2 decades ago, my journey began as a software engineer, advancing in the product tech space through giants like BMW, Vodafone, Amazon. And amidst the digital wave, memories from my Italian Nonna Armanda's kitchen literally stirred my soul. So I started wondering, why not marry digital expertise with cooking tradition and give it a global voice? And from this blend of tech, family heritage, and global aspiration, Chef Passport was born. And more adventure, it's where modern tech meets timeless tradition. But what is exactly Chef Passport? Chef Passport isn't just a digital platform, it's a fleet of innovative services focused on food, cooking, and drink experiences for businesses and for consumers. For businesses, we are transforming connections. Whether they're virtual, hybrid, or face-to-face, we are turning corporate events and team bonding into gastronomic adventure and memorable stories. And for the individuals, welcome to Chef Passport Escapes, the first service where the power of artificial intelligence meets the heart of global chefs, delivering unique recipes personalized to your very palate and lifestyle. At Chef Passport, when tech marries taste, the future is simply exquisite. But now let's take a closer look at our product and let's understand better how we are helping our customers address their challenges. In a post-pandemic world where remote workers are expected to keep growing by 10.8% each year for the next 5 years, at least, one challenge persists. How do we foster genuine human connections in a remote environment? Chef Passport virtual team building cooking workshops have been our answer to this question and our flagship product for the last 4 years. We have recruited and built a network of 40 chefs from 17 different countries of the world and internally trained them to become digital Top Chef instructors. Imagine it's like joining a video call like Zoom, but instead of just talking, everybody's cooking together, they follow the chef, they chat, and they have fun. We offer 3 formats for small, mediums, and large groups. And if you want, we can send all the food straight to your doorstep through one of our delivery partners, like HelloFresh. And to make the team experience unique and even more personalized, we can deliver customized apron like this one or personalized kitchen tools. Yes, we can do that too. And for businesses and leaders who truly understand the value of employee engagement in a remote-first world, Chef Passport is more than a service, is a bridge that connects towards the world global employees. Look over here on the left. It shows some cool numbers about Chef Passport virtual workshop for businesses. Since our start in 2019, we have ordered 200 online events, around 5,000 people from big companies that you can see on the right. And guess what? They love Chef Passport. On average, they gave us an outstanding 4.62 out of 5 customer satisfaction rate. And that's good. But as the world began to reopen again after the pandemic, we started thinking, well, we are proudly rooted in Luxembourg. Could we do something to help this country contribute to give a voice to its traditional food too? And so say hello to Delights of Luxembourg. We have teamed up with Anne Faber, one of the most famous Luxembourgish food personalities, and with 2 local big partners like Cactus and Alice Hartmann. And what is the problem we are trying to solve? A lot of multinational companies are headquartered in Luxembourg with workforce from all over the world. But how much do they know about Luxembourgish food? Sometimes I hear things like, oh, wow, is there a thing like Luxembourgish cuisine? And we want to fix this. If your office has a basic kitchen, we can bring Anne to your office for a fun Luxembourg cooking time, as you can see from these pictures. And if you don't have a kitchen, you can use our friend Cactus Cooking School. And plus, we bring special wine from Alice Hartmann. Delights of Luxembourg is not just about cooking, it's about learning more about Luxembourg, and it's our way to say a big thank you to this great country that welcomes expats from each angle of the world. But that's not all. This is our latest creation, launched earlier this month, Chef Passport Escapes. This is just not another cooking app, but it's a game changer. With our new subscription, you can save time and effort, no longer need to endlessly research online or offline for meals and recipes that fit your dietary need and allergies or your lifestyle. With Premium Escapes, you just simply set up your preferences and we will send you personalized cookbooks weekly, straight in your inbox. But it's not just automated recipes. Our Premium Escapes use smart AI to whip up our recipes. If you desire even a more personal touch, this is our Top Chef instructor coming to the picture with Gourmet Escape, and they will craft a one-of-a-kind recipe tailored just for you. Joining Chef Passport, Escapes offer more than a recipes. You will receive also exclusive discounts on our cooking classes, deals with our partners, and support from our own team. And every dish can create and tell a story. This is your story. But Chef Passport Escape is just the beginning of our ambitious plan to integrate more artificial intelligence into the realm of food. Because at the end of the day, we're still a tech company, eventually leading into our new big project called FLM, Food Language Model. Just imagine a world where computers understand food, not just the basic facts, but the unique stories, tradition, and especially how different food impact each individual health. Our goal is to build a specific layer of data on top of existing AI systems, and then we will train this model using data and knowledge from the world's best food and health experts. And this will add that science-backed level of trust that nowadays is missing in the foundational AI systems that we are using every day for our general purpose. So imagine getting ultra-personalized recipes to each and every individual, not just for taste or lifestyle, but also for your health. If you have conditions like diabetes, hypertension, hyperthyroidism, and then the application can become infinite, thinking that FLM will be the data backbone powering applications like, think about transforming your grocery shopping with personalized shopping list, or automatically programming your kitchen tools through app and data coming from FLM. And there is even a bigger picture, because by doing this, we'll be supporting 2 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, specifically good health and responsible consumption and production. So with FLM, we are not only just revolutionizing the food industry, but we are contributing to a better global future. Chef Passport Escape is just our initial step to introduce the FLM concept to the market. To turn this vision into reality, we're about to start our 3rd round of funding, and we're also applying to Fit for Start. So if you're interested in learning more, just contact me. At Chef Passport, our team is like a hand-picked selection of the world's finest ingredients, each adding a unique flavor to our mix. Luxembourg is our kitchen heart, but all the spices and flavors are coming from different angles of the world, from the markets of Panama, from the exotic gardens of the Philippines, from the tulip shop in the Netherlands, the innovative food labs in the US, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, India, and the timeless kitchen of Italy. This is our team, a fusion of experience, tradition, passion, and vision from across the globe. Sometimes there is a big choice that changes everything, and today you're at that point. And I know that Philip loves call to actions, and this is why today I have 3 call to actions for you. You want to connect your remote team wherever they are in the world, you can book your next virtual cooking event and scan the QR code or follow the link. You want to connect your team in Luxembourg, you can book your next Delight of Luxembourg event. Or are you excited about the future of food and AI, and you want to receive personalized recipes? Sign up today for Chef Passport Escape. And just for today, just for this special guest at Test My Pitch, we have a great offer. We can access the service with an entire free month. Just scan the QR code and use the coupon code free month when you check out. The future is not waiting, and neither should you. So thank you very much for your attention. And if, like us, you believe that food has the power to connect people, cultures, histories from every corner of the world, and technology can help change the world for better, well, join Chef Passport. Stand with the Luxembourgish Italian rooted vision as we set forth to redefine how digital technology will drive food and cooking innovation. Together, let's paint up a future where every dish tells a story and every bite is a journey. Thank you.
Matteo. We're going to have to work on timing, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well, at a cool 11 minutes, you're a naughty boy. You know better.
Yeah.
When I saw those QR codes, I thought, he's got a call to action. Dear, oh dear. Anyway, before I give any feedback, I'm going to hand the microphone over to my fellow colleagues. So, Philip, would you like to go first?
I would. Thank you so much, Matteo. I feel like we know each other. We've been talking for quite some time, and you know that I'm a big fan of Chef Passport. I love the way you speak about your company. I believe in you. I like the setting. I mean, you're in a kitchen, right?
Well, that's actually my kitchen. The guitars are a little bit strange, but that's the other passion of mine. So not for today.
And my point is, it really works. So I think, you left me really wanting more. So when I think about the pitch and the structure, and you talk about your journey, I want to know like how you got started. You were working for Amazon, and then you found this. You've always been passionate about food, right? So maybe I would highlight that at the start, just to evoke maybe a bit more emotion. I'm super curious about the team, and also the cooking sessions that we could see on some screenshots. So I would love to see what actually happens in the kitchen, because I think this is truly a great solution for global teams based in Luxembourg. And with that said, I'll be done shortly. When you started, we were in the midst of the pandemic, right? Am I right?
Well, actually, we started before, but then we paradoxically the pandemic helped because we were operating for a couple of years when the pandemic started. So that was the moment where we pivoted from the initial B2C concept to
Okay.
fully
We'll have a longer Q&A afterwards.
Okay.
Okay.
Because we're going to run out of time because you were a naughty boy and you went over time. So exactly, flagellation.
My just last point, because I thought about the pandemic and cooking online makes total sense, but what about when people go back to work? So I think you really sold it again when you brought up the stuff about international teams, and many of them are based in Luxembourg. So well done. It was a pleasure listening.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Mirko.
Yeah, thank you, Matteo, for the presentation. I really liked it. I wanted to double down on what Philip said about the pitch you made. Like, I love the way you pitch. You really can transmit the passion you have, and that's amazing. Like, for anybody that hears a pitch, like seeing that kind of passion that you've been able to put in this pitch is something amazing and can be very, very beneficial to anybody will listen to you. I have a question regarding Luxembourg, because you've been, when you said you were focusing on Luxembourg because there was this lacking of culture of the food, at least shared knowledge about the food culture here. Is this something you think might be replicated in other countries? Did you choose Luxembourg specifically? You said because you're here, but do you see this as something that can be scaled to other countries or not? This was the first question I had. And the second one is regarding the extension of the product you plan to do in the future. You've been mentioning a lot of possibilities, but I would like to understand if there's something more concrete than something else, if you have a plan for all of these extensions, or is something like you're just looking around right now and you didn't deep dive into that yet.
So you'll get an opportunity to answer those afterwards, but this is a very good indication, and thank you very much, both of you, for that feedback. The questions that the jury ask themselves are going to be questions that need to be an indicator of something that you could either put or highlight in your presentation, right? So one thing that I would very much like to see on the next iteration of your presentation is actually telling us distinct stories, because you are going backwards and forwards between B2C, B2B, B2C, B2B, right? And I definitely got the impression that that the money is most probably more in the B2B part. And so when you're pitching like this, and this is a complicated exercise because you're kind of pitching to a very wide array of people, right? You don't know who's behind the screen at this moment or listening to the recording. By the way, hi to the people in the future. Now, the thing is that even though you were asked to build a pitch that could take up to 10 minutes, you tried to focus on every single type of client that you might have. So for you strategically in the future, you need to pick one and choose the one that is going to have the biggest impact, so that I'm building on what the guys have said. I wanted to find out more about the business side. I wanted to find out more about this particular part. So a pitch, when you do have 10 minutes, you can go super deep into one topic and at the end basically make a side comment and say, this is one of the use cases. Contact us. We've got B2C model. We've also got B2B2C. You can always put that in there, but make the pitch about one type of customer. If you need to tell the story of these multiple customers, let's say B2B and B2C, you choose a persona and you tell the story from that person's point of view, right? To demonstrate that you really understand who the customer is, where they're coming from, the problem that you're solving for them, and really literally throw the kitchen sink at, I understand my customer, because remember that in this pitch, you are addressing the customer. You're not addressing a third person talking about the customer. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Thanks. Cool. That's very interesting. Yeah.
You're very, very welcome. Philip and Mirko, obviously, I do not have the monopoly on feedback. So would you like to build on a previous comment, or do you have anything else to tell Matteo?
Yes, maybe something regarding the traction you showed when you were showing some numbers. I think that slide was there was too much information in that slide for somebody to understand properly the real number to look at. Like, I mean, all of those are good, nice metrics, but maybe if you can, for example, I don't know, decrease the number of these metrics being showed to, I don't know, a third of them, it would be easier for us, for who listens to you, to understand like the real metrics to look at.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll
Philip?
just echo you, Philip, about the different topics, and I felt that the deep dive would have been interesting. And I saw AI, I saw the other abbreviation FM something, but I think it goes to show, and it goes for every single one of us, our attention spans are so very, very short. So I think to bring up abbreviations, and even though it's all good, I mean, I love the product, I want to find out more. In a pitch, it can be a bit overwhelming because I find myself thinking, well, what does that mean? Is that what he's talking about now? And then you're on to the next thing. So yeah, just basically echoing what you said, Philip.
Absolutely, and thanks a lot for that. Maybe, and sorry to call you out, could you just hold your microphone away from your shirt? It's going
definitely.
Click, click, click. That's perfect. Thank you very much. So this is the beauty of it being live, right? None of this is rehearsed. So just the final cap on that, and this is really to bring everything together. We can definitely agree that was a very good pitch. Now, one thing from a slides point of view, if you do have a lot of information to show, even if you need to build a PDF in PowerPoint, obviously you can use the animations. So show step 1, step 2, step 3. If you show us everything in one go, obviously we're going to start looking at, okay, what do I need to look at? And essentially you're not keeping people's attention. And so echoing what Mirko was saying, it's very important for you to just give us, and this applies to everyone, by the way, just give us the one piece of information that you want to focus on, right? If I hold something up and I want you to focus on this, you're now focusing on my pen. You're not focusing on the ornament just behind me, because I'm getting you to focus on this pen. It's the same in presentations, right? So when you put a presentation up, you put step 1, step 2, step 3. If you've got 6 metrics, metric 1, metric 2, metric 3, metric 4, because like that, you're keeping control of your audience's eye, okay? And hence your audience's attention. Is all of that clear for you?
Absolutely. That's super valuable, and I will make sure I will implement this in the next version.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so much for participating. Do stick around, because we are going to have a much more open Q&A, and like that, you'll be able to tackle some of the answers. If there are specific things that you have questions about, please do write it down so that we can get you those answers afterwards. So I am going to take you all off the feed. You're very welcome, Matteo. Sorry for cutting you off. I did hear your thank you at the end. And our next candidate is Roman. Roman, good evening, and thank you very much for joining.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for the invitation, Philippe. It's a
Absolutely.
pleasure to train the page, to talk about projects, to talk about startups, and to share this knowledge.
Thank you very much for joining us. So this evening, you're going to be talking about M-Shield, a project that you are currently working on. And I know that, stepping into the pitching zone, into the spotlight just after Matteo, it's a challenge. But don't worry, we're here to help you make progress. So if you would like to share your screen, I will be able to bring that up. And very good, excellent. Thank you very much. So I'm going to bring that onto the feed. Don't start just yet. Put yourself in presentation mode. That's absolutely perfect. So a reminder for everybody that might have joined us, you are going to have up to 10 minutes to pitch. I'm going to leave the feed. When I leave the feed, the counter starts. So you start pitching. And don't worry, just take your time, breathe. Everything's going to be all right. And if you get to 9.5 minutes, I will pop back into the feed. And at that point, you know that you need to wrap up. Okay? So looking forward to hearing all about it. I will take myself off the feed and the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Philippe, one time again. So thank you everyone for your attention and for your presence during this live. As Philippe said, it's my very first time into the pitching zone. First, I'll start by introducing myself very quickly. My name is Roman Melintov, and I'm the founder of the M-Shield project. In a few words, when I discover how we can build a holographic pyramid with a pair of glass and with only a cell phone, my passion for IT just has started. And from this moment, I'm looking for a way to make something very cool with the technology we can have, and with the technology we can. With the technology we can develop. So the IT is my first, I'll say, passion, but I have another one, which is cars, and everything is about that. Everything is about that. So use a little bit of time for the introduction, because this problem is well known. Will be very simple. Everyone is one day facing the situation to buy or to sell a car. Everyone, or maybe everyone. We'll take the example of Joe who falls in love with a car, and Joe have to choose a car, and Joe have to dig, and Joe, just like us, have the same reflexes, which are consisting to dig into the past of the car he's looking for, or of the car he just found on the internet or at the car dealer garage. So to decide how Joe will to decide if Joe will buy the car or not, there is a general communication. What is the condition of the car? And we are talking about the used car markets. So here concretely, what is the condition of this used car for Joe? So of course he'll dig into the past to understand the present, to understand the current condition of the vehicle, in order to prevent future issues, in order to understand how much time he'll have to spend on this car to repair it, or how much maintenance he'll have to do on it, or how much it will cost for him just after the buying. Just after buying the car, sorry. So everyone is looking for the same information about the car. We're looking for the mileage, we're looking for the maintenance, and we're looking for the repairs. We will ask the old owner for invoices. We'll use online tools and buying history of a vehicle. How much time a vehicle can be exchanged, how much time he change of his ownership change, and with all of this information, we'll try to take our decision. This is the first step of understanding the concrete project and the concrete situation. Why? Because when you are digging into the past of a car, you are facing into the most important part, which is the trust, concretely. Because how do you know if you can trust this information or not? And here, M-Shield, and here is the purpose of M-Shield. Concretely, our mission today is to cultivate trust. And just as I showed you here, when the first reflex of a consumer is to dig into the past of a vehicle to understand if he will buy it or not, with the M-Shield, we will ensure that the information that someone is behind this information, that a professional is behind this information, in order to remove this effort of digging into the past and just to focus on the present. This is the present, because the current condition of the vehicle is really interesting to us. So our mission as M-Shield is to cultivate trust between all of these stakeholders. As you can see, individuals, car dealers, marketplace, mechanics, manufacturers, insurance company, or spare parts providers, or a lot of inspectors. There are a lot of different actors, because we all know that the automotive sector is a very big sector. So as a startup, how can we start to cultivate trust? How can we start our mission? We decided to build it in several phases, because there are a lot of actors, because of many various stakeholders, and also because the trust means have a different meaning and brings different value for every single stakeholder. So in the first phase, we will just focus on the car dealers and on the individuals. That's our first phase. That's why we have built and we're currently building the M-Shield Pro software, which is accessible via web, with several core features. We have two core features which are very, very important. The first one is the M-Shield. M-Shield is concretely a forgery-proof digital asset, which forgery proofness is guaranteed by a set of smart contracts deployed on different blockchain. And the second one, as you can see, M-Shield is a forgery-proof history of a vehicle. Containing different information on the vehicle, diagnostics, containing information about repairs, or information about repairs. And the second information and the second feature is the M-Plan. M-Plan for maintenance plan, because we want to offer to our customers, we want to offer to the car dealers the possibility to apply a policy of transparency for their clients. In simple words, the M-Shield, which is containing, which is a forgery-proof asset containing mileage, maintenances, repairs, and diagnostic, will help. Not only help, but will engage the car dealer in front of his clients on a policy of transparency. And this M-Shield will also help to determine future maintenances and repairs. So the M-Shield here with the M-Plan is opening a discussion between the car dealer, Sam, and between Joe. So when Sam, the car dealer, is looking for a car, when Sam found the car, he of course inspects it, and this inspection and this inspection is made forgery proof. Some generate a M-Shield and fill the M-Shield with his inspection. Once this thing done, some can share this diagnostic and future intervention to attract Joe. Concretely, here Sam and Joe are talking about the inspection Sam made on a vehicle, and Sam can be very transparent to Joe because Sam is engaging his company on this forgery-proof asset, and they can talk about the condition of the vehicle and what have to be done on this vehicle. How much maintenance you have to do, what are different repairs you have to operate on your vehicles or on this vehicle if you decide to buy it. So the M-Shield here is a bridge between car dealers and Joe, and with this first phase, we are convinced that we will cultivate trust and foster connection between people and foster connection between car dealers and individuals. Of course, this is the first phase only. We are working on preparing the second phase, thanks to our technical background and thanks to the feedbacks of our partners and of our prospects and of our testers to deeply understand how we can develop smart and how we can add this little feature to change the habits to change and to transform the relationship between automotive professionals and individuals, but also
Roman,
between professionals themselves.
We're gonna have to wrap it up now because I have given you more time than Matteo. As you can see, you have gone over time, and so this will be something that we have to work on, and I will give you a trick for that afterwards. And as we know, we are here to practice. No worries whatsoever. So, before I say anything, I'm going to hand it over this time to Mirko first.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I think speaking of timing, of course, as Philip I think pointed out already, I would spend less time on the problem to switch quicker to the solution in order for you to have more time to show the solution you've been thinking of in this case. And then I have a couple of notes that I took in terms of presenting. I would avoid, if possible, to go back and forth with slides because it's confusing for somebody listening to you, because I don't remember if the slide I'm seeing when you go back and forth is something that I've seen already. So I have to look at you and you go faster back and forth. So that's something else that I wanted to point out. And then a minor thing, which is very minor, I would avoid to use the number 2 when you had the slide with the first phase. You had 2 points because, of course, it's the second point of the presentation.
Yeah,
but
it
might be a little
bit.
Yeah, it might be just a little bit misleading, but it's not something measured that to point out. And one last thing, unfortunately, is not so clear to me from the presentation I heard. How is this forgery proof info being generated? I mean, at what time is this the info stored in the blockchain? Because of course I see the immutability of the blockchain and whatsoever. And at the same time, how can you guarantee for it to be forgery proof in this sense?
So we will answer that question afterwards, because I know, Roman, you're tempted to jump straight into it. There's a very good reason why I did invite both of you, because Mirko, you have a particular passion for blockchain technology, And obviously, Roman, now you understand why it was important for you to come and pitch this evening. So for sure, you guys will be able to carry on this conversation afterwards. This is another added benefit of coming and joining the Test My Pitch. So we're going to move on to Philip, and then obviously we're going to keep the conversation going.
Yeah. First off, thank you. I understand this was your first pitch. So congratulations. I'm also going to hold my mic because I'm very expressive. I talk with my hands. I am Scandinavian, though. I'm not Italian. So that's surprising. But what I will say is that I'm not big into cars. And so maybe that adds to it. But what I do know is that a car dealer and car dealership firms will always make me feel uncomfortable. You know, I always feel like I will get tricked here because I don't know that much about cars, but we do need cars, unfortunately. So I think your solution is super valuable, and I like how you highlighted trust. So what I would do perhaps is that I would tie it more to a story. I would love to hear more about your story and why you started. And that will also sort of help me with my very short attention span. And I think it goes for everyone. You know, we relate more to stories. So maybe, and also what you said, Mirko, I think the problem, boom, that's one slide. You know, that's like a shady car dealer. And boom, you have this app. So no more questions. You got it. And then you can move on to the amazing technology that, you know, today we never had time to sort of discover that. But so I think more storytelling. I want to see more emotion, and I want for it to be more relatable because I think it's a great product. So it's like you have the ingredients, but you have to put it together in a different way, and then you have to fry it real fast. And not in 30 minutes. Thank you.
Well, in this particular case, it was actually almost 12 minutes because I'm feeling particularly generous this evening for some reason. So, in fact, 12 minutes is very important because you actually only start, because you were on the timer. I said, as soon as I take myself off the feed, your timer starts and you know that you had a finite amount of time. And this is a mistake that we make so often, whether we have 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 minute, we spend so much time giving people what we think is important context that we forget that people are there to, and now I have to say that Philip is absolutely right. We have got such a short attention span. And so we need to get to the heart of the problem for our audience as soon as possible, right? And so when we're doing that, the way that we build this pitch, and Philip's suggestion was very good, and building on what Mirko was saying, I want to find out, you know, the nuts and the bolts from the user's perspective, right? So one of the ways that you could start your presentation could be people in the audience, whether you're investors or simple users, you have all bought or sold one car in your life. Remember what that experience was like. You were looking at this car and you realized, I know nothing about this car. You ask for the records, but are you sure that those are true, that those are accurate, and that they haven't been tampered with? We solve that problem. And then all of a sudden, you've painted this picture that allows the audience to think, okay, I get it. Even somebody that really doesn't care about cars. I mean, Philip has said it himself. I really don't care. You know, it's like, but we do need them, right? So you're solving a problem that even people who don't care about cars, in fact, they might be the most interested because they don't want to get screwed over, right? You're not going to be addressing a particularly mechanically minded person, because that person will literally be able to get the box of Snap-ons out and start taking stuff apart. And on the contrary, you're addressing the very human part of trust. And what goes into building trust? It's putting it, for example, on the blockchain. And this is where I very much encourage you to get in touch with Mirko afterwards, because he might be able to tell you a thing or two about blockchain technology and how we can bring that story to life, right? So you've got loads of really interesting elements. A few positive notes, though. Notice how clean your slides were. Matteo, please don't take that personally, but your slides were super clean. There was almost nothing on them. And what that does to your audience is that it forces them, you've got one bullet point. Okay, I've read the bullet point. I need to focus on the person speaking in order for me to understand what that bullet point is. If you put a big text, people start reading the text and you've lost them, right? So again, I'm not going to monopolize. Mirko, would you like to add anything else?
Not specifically. Well, apart from thanking you for the presentation, and I think what you said in terms of storytelling is the most important thing, in which I would like focus for the next iteration, because a little bit of more storytelling and emotion might be for sure beneficial in this regards.
100%. Philip, anything to wrap up?
I'm gonna echo what you said. I think the slides super clear, and I paid attention to what you were saying, and yeah, it's your first pitch, so I'm excited to be part of it. And also, I think it's important to know that I actually do want to find out more. I'm curious. You got me curious, and that's an emotion, and that's very positive. So thank you for that.
Thank you very
Absolutely.
much for our feedback.
Thank you very much for that, guys. I am going to take you off the feed, and we're going to move on to our third, last but certainly not least, presenter. So it's my pleasure to welcome Bhumika. Hello.
Hi, Philip. Thank you very much.
How are we doing?
Very well, very well. Thank you for having me tonight.
You're very, very welcome. Thank you very much for joining. If you would like to share your screen so that I can bring it up.
Perfect. Entire screen. Sorry, it's let's see, preview. Can we see that?
Yes, we can.
Are you able to see slides? I'm not sure. Yeah.
Maybe. No.
No.
Nope.
Sorry, MacBook is always very helpful about sharing your screen.
Mac is, yeah. We could have a very long conversation about whether we like Mac or not.
It's always very...
Okay, so this is what happens when you do things live. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Oh well, c'est la vie. Now, so I think you will have realized that now, speaking to the audience in general, it's incredibly important for us to take the time and practice our pitches. Now, we've had two really good examples of people who have been able, willing, and certainly willing to actually practice their pitch. Speaking of able and willing, our very own Bhumika is back.
I'm so sorry.
Not a problem. That's it. I thought, oh no, she's having some problems. She's decided. Now, as I was saying, this is what happens when you do things live.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So maybe I'm gonna try it once more. Hopefully this works. And
once more.
And yeah, I think you're right. I've not used the software before, so maybe that's that.
This is why we connect a bit before. There we go. Excellent. So the same rules apply to you. We're going to, or I'm going to take myself off the feed. As soon as I disappear, your timer starts. Okay. Now, you have the advantage of being last, so you're not allowed to make the same mistakes as everybody else. Okay. So this is going to be the last pitch. Now, we are going to have time for a Q&A afterwards. So at 9.5 minutes, I will come back on the feed. If you see my beautiful face, it means that you're running out of time. So in 3, 2, 1, the floor is yours.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Philip. And good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today and giving me the opportunity to test my pitch. I'm here to talk to you about BondGeek and why am I doing what I'm doing and what exactly is BondGeek about. Okay, let's get started. So what exactly is BondGeek? BondGeek is my baby. It's the startup I'm working on, and we're currently raising VC funding for those. So if you like my idea, I'd love to get in touch and talk to you about it at any platform later on. Why am I doing this? So by background, I'm a bond trader. I started out my career trading bonds on Goldman Sachs' trading floor in London. I moved on to Bloomberg, Citi. But I think one thing I learned is that how cheap they are to trade if you're a big guy, but how insanely expensive and inaccessible this market is if you're the small guy. So this is the problem we're trying to solve. We've seen in the last, if you've been around in the last macro situation, like we've seen, the below market interest rates. I don't know what your bank pays you, but the high street banks in the UK, they pay you 1%, maybe 1.5%, when Bank of England or the central bank rate is about 5.5%. So there's a very huge spread between what you get paid on your bank versus what the market interest rate, so the risk-free rate is. We've also seen collapse of SVB, one of the very big startup banks in the US that has reverberated through the startup ecosystem. And that makes you wonder that whether your money kept in banks is safe or not. And this kind of goes, as a thesis of the entire project, but investing in bonds is extremely hard and inaccessible for a retail investor, for an average Joe, like you, me, your parents, your kids. This is the main problem we're trying to solve, that this market, even in 2023, is extremely opaque, inaccessible, and extremely expensive. Why now? I mean, why am I trying to do this now and not 3 years ago? So if you see this chart on the left, you see the inflation has been at multi-decade highs and interest rates are at multi-decade highs, which means your money's wealth is getting eroded really fast. Household savings are quite high after COVID. And those of you who've played around with investing, the volatility in equity has meant that, there's a need for this diversification tool, which gives you a safe return. In countries like India, Brazil, which have had very high interest rates for longer, solutions like this already exist. So you can check out Wind, Golden Pious. What we're trying to do is quite novel in Europe, but not an entirely new concept. Bonds are one of the oldest financial instruments out there, and this is what we're building on top of. Then I kind of went around, okay, maybe this is a problem that I think is a problem because I come from this background and I know what works and what does not work. So I went around, we ran a focus group survey of millennials living in UK cities. What did we find? We found that 100% of them, everyone, gets paid below the Bank of England savings rate, Bank of England rate on their bank, with their banks on their savings. Nobody can access the 5.5%, or in Europe, it's 3.5%, 3.75% that people are getting. A lot of them are interested in trying an app where they can buy US treasuries, invest directly with the government of the United States, Great Britain, Germany, Luxembourg, and a lot of these European governments out there. Some of them trade bonds, but nobody really thinks that it's a satisfactory way to do so. So that's really it. That is the core problem we're solving. How are we doing that? We're doing that by creating a bond-backed savings platform for no-fuss investing, for people who are not technical, people who don't really want to know what bonds to choose. It's too much. We've created a simple cash account. Think about this. It's your bank account. You withdraw in money, you take money out, and it works exactly like your bank account. But when you give us your money, we go invest it in a 3-month bond, a 2-month bond, a 1-month bond. Very liquid, very safe, very cheap. And when you withdraw your money, we just go and sell it. So you don't really bank with us when you're with BondGeek. You bank directly with the governments you choose, one of the safest instruments to put your money in there. We keep rolling them over, and you get paid at the end of the day the risk-free rate, 5.5%, 3.5% in Europe, or 6% in US. And if you want to be a bit more involved, you want to be like, oh, my kids are going to school in 5 years' time and I want to save money. I want to buy a 5-year bond. Or, hey, they're going to get married in 15 years' time. I want to buy something for 15 years. Or maybe I want to save for my wedding in the next 2 years. This is a 2-month bond or a 2-year bond. And you can actually go and create and choose what exactly do you want to do with the money. So that is our vision. Our vision is that all the money that is currently kept at 0% in a bank that can fail and potentially jeopardize your money, especially if it's above the 100,000 euro insurance limit, that you go and invest it directly with governments. Have a simple cash account with the government that we, as a tech platform, enable. This is the competitive landscape. Now, it is done from a UK perspective. I live in London. Might be a little bit different in the countries you're there. But in general, there are very few platforms who sell this. A lot of the new fintechs like Trading 212, Wise, Revolut, eToro, they don't just simply do this product. High street banks don't do this. And why won't they do this? Because they make the money you keep with them at 0%. They take your money, they pay you 1.5%, 0%, and then they keep it directly with ECB at 3.5%. So they can't actually offer you this platform because that is their entire business model. Coming to our business model, so what exactly are we doing here? So we're creating a B2C platform where we charge you a fixed AUM platform fee. We charge you an FX transfer fee. Say if you hold sterling and want to invest in euros or dollars or vice versa. And this is how we make money off you. But in the grand scheme of things, when we're able to get you one of the market-beating interest rates, we charge you a very, very small amount from what we are able to get you from the current options. We are also using this as a platform for our investors to for corporate bonds to go and list on this place. For corporate bonds to be able to say that, hey, maybe Engie or Vodafone wants to sell a debt instrument and they can list on our platform and we charge them a fee direct to issuer. These are quite detailed financials. It's not for this slide, so I'm going to skip over it, but if you're interested, we can talk a bit more about that. What exactly is the market we're looking at? There's so many ways to dissect and intersect this market. Retail holdings of government bonds in the UK are valued at $120 billion. Government and corporate bonds are valued at $200 billion. What exactly are we targeting here? We're targeting the cash that's kept in banks 0% or below market rates. That's worth nearly $600 billion. Globally, the market is worth $12 trillion that nobody has tried to bring to the masses. And that's exactly at the heart of our mission. That's what we're trying to change. This is the progress we have so far. We have a FCA or a regulatory license, which allows me to be able to talk to people. We know how we can execute this. We know how we can safely custody the products we offer you. And we kind of have a UI, UX design of the website and app, and the amount of demand we've gotten for this product it's really amazing. I think what people come up to me and say that I just can't believe that this just doesn't exist. These are our slides, but this is our roadmap and us, and this is not exactly for this presentation, but I'm very happy to walk you through it if you're interested in this. Let's talk a little bit more about go-to-market and how we're actually going to bring this product to the market and to the masses. So we've talked about a cash account. An inflation-linked account would be there. I basically do that, but I put your money in an inflation-linked bond, and you always get at least the rate of inflation paid to yourself. We've tried to come up with a lot of hooks, what people think, but beating on banks always works. Like, do you know that your bank's robbing you and what your bank doesn't want you to know? And make your rainy day fund work harder. And that's exactly it. I see Philip there, so I'm going to wrap up, but this is the team. This is me, Bhumika. I come from a very technical financial background. I'm doing this with Vishesh, who comes from a very technical on the IT side, tech side of things, and he's a CTO, and we are doing this product together. So thanks very much.
And thank you very much. And I am going to bring Philip and Mirko back to front and center. Excellent. So, gents, who would like to go first? 3, 2, 1. Philip, you're up.
Wow.
Execution.
There we go. First off, thank you so much.
Microphone.
I will hold that. We are live. I love being live. I think, I mean, I'm intrigued. I really believe in what you're saying. I also understand that you have the background that you say you have. It's like the trust I got in like 3 seconds. So I'm wondering if you really had to talk that much about the details. To me, it's more about, I mean, you're the expert. I believe in you. The numbers, that's the second meeting for me. And the slides, I would just remove the slides that, you know, were not for this presentation. Because that's a bit awkward. Like either pretend they're meant to be there, but don't say that they're not supposed to be there and show them. You know, I was just confused. Also, and this is like a tiny detail, but the color of the font, it's way too bright to put on a white background.
Okay.
But that's, I think it could be just more clear. Maybe it's the contrast, but I struggle to see all the details. But I think it's also what we said about the other pitch. I mean, sometimes slides were a bit overwhelming. And again, I mean, what got me interested is your story. And, you know, the problem I can relate. But then when you started talking about platforms, I was confused again. Because I was like, it's a platform, and then Vodafone, and my mind sort of, you know, spiraled. But all in all, I think it's a great presentation. I really want to go on to this. Will it be an app? What do you think? Maybe that's for the Q&A. But I want this app seriously because I believe in you and I want to make money. And I think that should also be in the pitch. Like real people will, you know, real people will need real money. So I saw your PR comms slide. So I would just use that, you know, in the presentation already. I don't think that has to be, you know, that could already be implemented in the strategy. Perhaps when you talk about the problem and the solution. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like take your own advice and use that in the presentation because I think it will work. So that's me. That was a lot all at once, but I really want to say that I'm intrigued and I'm going to connect later. Okay, thanks.
Very good. Mirko.
First and foremost, thanks a lot for the presentation. It was really nice. And wow, Philip got all of my points, I'd say. But just a couple of things that I pointed out. Again, I think there was too much text in the slides, maybe, but you heard this already. And also for the screenshots I've seen of the product, I've seen maybe too many screenshots, out of which I couldn't get something like that was really valuable. It's like showing all of the product and the feature it provides. I would focus instead on maybe zooming in some specific parts of the application, following the pitch you're doing in order for the audience to follow you easier. And another thing that is not super clear to me, if this is supposed to be an investor pitch or a pitch to the public, I mean to the consumers, because of course you are talking about a topic which is not so common to everybody. I mean, I'm a little bit into investing, not yet as much as I wanted to, but I could follow you quite enough for me. And so maybe, I don't know if your goal was is to speak to a wider audience. Maybe you might focus a little bit more on the problem, and the problem can be synthesized into sentences like raising interest rates, high inflation, money being eaten by staying in the bank, like do something with this money. And this is just a little bit of feedback that I pointed out, and not much else actually. Great presentation. I liked it. Yes, one more thing. you said that there are some products already in the market in some specific countries, and you said some solutions are already present out there. Why don't you maybe emphasize on the difference of your product compared to these other products already being present in the market? I would do this comparison a little bit more in order to show what you can add to what is already present in the market.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much, both of you, for that feedback, and we'll definitely going to be circling back. So building on what has just been said and speaking specifically about the slides, a lot of people, when they're building the slides, they think that they're only building one, right? And this is why you end up presenting slides that have got lots of text on them. When you're building a presentation, you're actually building two. There's one that doesn't require you to be there to explain, and that's the one with all the text on it. And then once you finish that presentation, what you do, you make a copy of that, and then you eliminate 99% of the text. And like that, you find yourself with the same presentation, the same layout, etc. One that you can send after the presentation, and one that is going to retain our attention because there's one word, one slide, whatever on the slide itself. I look at that, and then I have to pay attention to you and think, okay, I need to pay attention to this person because otherwise I'm not going to understand the slide. The slide is not there to replace you if you are there to speak. That's point number one. I have to emphasize the point that Philip made about the colors that you use. If it's clear on white, I mean, just imagine that you're presenting in front of your, the old uncle that I am, right? And I need glasses, young lady. And so you need to make it readable for me, right? It's you're young, your eyesight is fantastic. Make it big, right? And because you're going to have so little writing on your next presentation, you're going to be able to put it in size like 72, like that your old uncle can read it, okay? And also you want to make a big contrast. Now, we're very often afraid of using a dark background because we think it might look sad. Actually, the best presentations have got a dark background and white writing. Just try it on one of your slides and see the difference that it makes, because the contrast is so big, it improves readability a huge amount. Okay, so dark background, light writing makes it super, super readable. Now, building on the idea of having two pitches, it's perfectly okay for you to be pitching towards clients or for you to be pitching towards investors. You said right at the start, you're currently raising funds. Okay, then go all the way. You can even say at the beginning of the presentation, this presentation is specifically for investors who are interested in bam, bam, bam. Like that, you're queuing up the attention part of our brain to say, this is something that I need to pay attention to because it's going to be something that is going to be interesting, super interesting to me. Now, this applies to all three presentations that we saw this evening. I came off the feed and then everybody said, thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I am personally flattered, but your countdown has already started, right? So your counter is already going. And when you have a presentation and you're on timer, you actually only have 10 seconds to capture people's imagination, right? To capture people and just to reach through the screen and go and grab my attention, grab me by the lapel and say, you are going to listen to me for the next 5-10 minutes. And I'm going to make it super interesting. And you don't do that by saying, hi, everyone. Thank you very much for being here. I'm so happy. And of course, this is not a dig at you and it's not a dig at anybody else. But we don't realize how important it is to start off with, in your case, for example, aren't you sick and tired of having all of your money taken by the banks? They're making money and you're not, and you should be pissed off about it. Guess what? I'm helping you solve that problem. I know that sounds a bit infomercial, but the reality is that it works. Getting people's attention right at the beginning is super, super important. Right. I'm not monopolizing. Guys, do you have any further feedback for Bhumika?
I think just building on what you said right now, Philip, I agree. It's about evoking, emotion, and I think you can totally do that. What I thought about was also how you presented, because now I mean, I understand you're pitching in front of investors, so I mean, it makes sense. I'm not into cars. Now I'm into bonds, but it's my first time watching a presentation like that. But when you talk about the competitors before your solution, I think that's not like making you any favors, because that got my mind thinking, oh, people are really doing stuff here. Like, what about, and then I see the graph. So I think it's more beneficial for you to present more about yourself and the actual solution. And then you go to the competitors and say, as you can see, we place ourselves right here. We're better than most out there, because you don't want to make the presentation about other companies or other people. It's about you. It's your show. So you need to, like you said, Philip, grab attention, and then you keep that narrative throughout, so that no one gets lost. And I'm sure someone will invest. That was my comment. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And the last comment will go to Mirko, and then we're going to bring everyone back in for the Q&A.
Yeah, one last comment. I guess the platform is live, right?
The platform, no, it's not live yet.
Okay. So that was the question, because I didn't hear you saying this is live, but I heard you saying we are raising funds. So I assume it was live already. But so that was something that I had as doubt. So okay.
Absolutely. Maybe I'm going to break my own rules. Last comment. One of the things that we often, and this is actually to bounce off what Philip was saying about competition. Competition is actually, good competition is a great proxy for market research, right? Because if there is competition, it means there's a market, right? That's point number one. Point number two, we mustn't hesitate to say, look, guys, we're not reinventing the wheel. This is a real problem that many, many people face. The fact that we've got competition just proves that, right? Now, and here's echoing what Philip said, the way that we differentiate ourselves and we add value is through A, B, and C, right? And this is what we are absolute masters at, and we're the best in the universe, right? So again, and this is for all audiences out there, competition is good because it just proves that there's a need and a market, right? So enough about that. Let's bring Roman and let's bring Matteo, and they've decided to leave their cameras off, naughty boys. Good, excellent. In this last part, and thank you all for sticking around. In this last part, we're going to go through kind of an open Q&A. One of the feedback that I got after several of these sessions is that the startups wanted to find out from the other startups if they had any feedback as well. So we're going to start there. Does any one of the startups have any feedback to any of the other startups? And I can say, should we say ladies first? Would you like to be the first that gives a bit of feedback?
Yeah, definitely. I think today what we had was quite so I had my kind of a VC slide here, and then I think Matteo had a very different sort of personality he was pitching to. No, I thought the product was quite interesting. I agreed that the business model is probably quite varied. Like, you have pivoted obviously from A to B to C to whatever, but it makes sense that whatever's like 80-20 rule on whatever is the 80% of your revenue should be there, and then you can say, or you don't even need to say that you're in all of that. That would be, I guess, my main. I thought otherwise that presentation was quite excellent, and that I kind of really followed the story. With Roman, one thing is, so I'm not a native English speaker either. So I'm from India, and I quite it's just that when I don't have the ear for the accent, and I thought that it was that you were stopping a lot in between when you were talking. So the slides were quite clear, but when you were talking, you were like a lot of ums and ahs. So it made me quite lose my attention in between when I was trying to hear what you had to say. But yeah, the slides were quite excellent and clear.
Which is where we pitch train again and again and again. Thank you very much for that feedback. Gentlemen, Matteo, would you like to provide some feedback to the other startups?
Oh, yeah. So I don't know if you will never be able to see this, but as Roman was pitching, I texted my wife telling someone has my same problem, because I always have problems with car dealers. And this, I told her, I found finally, so I want to be your first customer. That is yeah, I just changed my car 2 weeks ago. After 7 months, we've been waiting. So I ordered it in November. And I remember I was like, I was on that chair in front of the car dealer, and I was looking forward to running away, because he was trying to sell me everything, upselling. I know a little bit how that works. And I just feeling so uncomfortable. And I was, I understand on one hand, this is a selling technique. On the other hand, I think there must be some more customer centric approach when these things come to life. So I'm sold. Just give me the solution, and I will my next car. I will be definitely a big fan of your application. And on the other hand, I don't know if it is more of a feedback. I'm not 100% into the entire financial world, but to Bhumika, my question would be, maybe it's a question more than a feedback. Is just, we are all in Luxembourg, that is well known for being a financial hub. Why are you still in London? You should join us in Luxembourg. As soon as possible, where probably these type of ideas can really bloom in the beautiful ecosystems, especially for fintech, that also the government is helping and supporting here in Luxembourg. So that's a beautiful platform. So I'm sure I'm joking, but if you want to consider, this is definitely a market to keep in mind.
The Loft will be happy to hear you say that.
The Loft will be definitely happy.
Bhumika, just for you, Loft is Luxembourg House of Financial Technology, and we'll be happy to make the intros. And because it was Matteo's idea, Matteo can take the credit for sure for bringing you to Luxembourg, that is. Very good. Roman, last but not least, would you like to provide the other startups with a bit of feedback?
Just provide greetings. Thank you very much for your time, for your presentation. Matteo, thank you very much for your energy. I'm looking for my way to tell the story, to tell the M-Shield story. I have to work on it, and it was very great example to listen how you defend your project. Really, it was a pleasure. So thank you very much, and for your message to your wife.
It's my pleasure as well, Roman. Happy to follow up.
Yes, of course. And Bhumika, I don't understand the problem you are solving. So I started to read a part on your on your website. I just want to know more information about this part, but just because I'm not from the financial world, I'm more on the IT and cars part. so sorry, but thank you very much for the time and for your advices, of course.
Good, excellent. And now we can open it up, and to all of the startups, now is your opportunity. If we said something that either you wanted to respond to on the one hand, or you had some question about some of the feedback that you got, something that might not necessarily have been super clear, and here any one of you can start by asking us the questions, and of course, the floor is yours.
So I'm happy to take the questions, and also just to maybe anticipate a couple of those that I heard earlier, especially regarding the next product and how this is related to what we are doing right now. So let me tell you one thing. It's also part of the of the lesson learned as a founder. And you will hear, maybe I'm stating the obvious, but you will hear over and over that the number one thing in order to be successful is to solve an actual pain point of a customer. So you don't want to be a nice to have service. You don't want to be a startup that builds something, at least at the beginning. Then you can have ancillary services maybe as you grow, but at the beginning, at least to survive, you really need to hook customers, not only hook, but to help customers solve an actual problem. And I have a feeling that flashback 5 years ago, when I started Chef Passport, I wanted to do this kind of online cooking school, but there was not actually an actual problem that I was solving. I tried to find and validate, and this explains, I think, a little bit the roller coaster that went through the years. But then, as the pandemic hit, and then there was an actual problem because everybody was at home, lockdown, with no connection. Everybody was. Then it was evident to me how. I was in the right moment with the right product. So I took in the most advantage of the moment, but then was thinking, okay, what is next? As Philip said. And then continuous innovation, think about how you can pivot, change, so on and so forth. So with Chef Passport Escapes, that's actually, for those that know about this terminology, is about an MVP. It's a minimum viable product of the bigger platform, because you want to test the market. You want to see if there is an actual response. And let me tell you that in the first month, we got already quite an interesting response for people that are telling me, oh, wow, but does it work for diabetic people? Does it work for people with actual health diseases? And this one made me think, wow, probably there is an opportunity, not directly me. This is why I need to understand and to build a team of experts, doctors, nutritionists, but people who we can provide the infrastructure, the data, but probably there is really an opportunity to leverage AI to help people solve real health issues that goes far beyond the having fun during a cooking class. That it's always good to have, but it's not as much important as an health issue could be. So to answer the question, the evolution and the building of this data platform will give us scalability of the business, and Chef Passport Escape is our first MVP to test the market and find what is the best audience that will resonate eventually with the evolution of the product.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that comment. Philip, Mirko, was there more feedback that you wanted to give our fine startups?
I truly, meant everything that I said. I'm super impressed, and I'm genuinely interested in all of your companies. If I see, if I look back and think, okay, what did I say? Well, I said many things about storytelling. So I think you should all, just go for it. Like, dare to be different and evoke emotions and be more of you. Like, be unique, because you are, and that will also help with the pitches, I think. And I'm a walking example, so take it from me. Just bring more energy, more personal stories, because people relate, and when people relate, they also connect, and they also buy or invest in your services. So you're already doing it, but I just want to see more of it. So that's my final comment. Mirko, you go.
I would just repeat what you just said. No, seriously, it's all about stories again. Yeah, not much else on my side. I think I gave all the comments that I pointed out. I had this question for Matteo that I just got the answer, so fine for that. And thanks a lot, everyone, for the presentation you made.
Very
Can
good.
I just maybe, Philip, add an anecdote on the storytelling part about Philip? So my mom is not absolutely into the startup world, but I think around 4 years ago, by chance, she was in Luxembourg and she attended one of Philip's pitches. After 4 years last week, she still asked me, how is doing that? A Swedish guy with the catfish shoes. So she still remembers not being part of, because he was able to build an emotional connection with my mom that is sometimes hard even for me. But he made it. He made it. He still remembers. She still remembers him and his product last 4 or 4 years. So emotional connection to the audience is crucial.
Thank you for saying that, and give my best to your mom. I need to send her some shoes.
Well, now you do realize that this is being recorded. So, you know, in the UK, that's considered a verbal contract, and that's it. You are now bound to send your mum some shoes.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah, we'll get that set up. Very good. So thank you all so much. I'm going to ask you to go all the way around. We're going to start with ladies first. Where can people find you, and anybody that wants to connect with you, what's the best way to do so?
Find me on LinkedIn. That's one way. And my website is bondgeek.co.uk. Visit our website. You can find our Twitter. You can find my email and all the information there. So that's 2 things.
Fabulous. Excellent. So, Matteo.
Sorry, I was on mute. Well, first of all, chefpassport.com is the website where you can find all the information about the different services that we discussed. If you want to connect directly with me, LinkedIn, personal Chef Passport page. You can even write at matteo@chefpassport.com. My email is pretty much available, and I'm looking forward to hearing from anyone that might be interested in their next food adventure.
Very good. Thank you very much. Roman.
And find me on LinkedIn. Our website is currently in development, so I'll be available on LinkedIn. And just please notice that it is from this live to just notice it. So thank you very much.
Very good. Excellent. Thank you very much. Mirko.
You can reach me out on LinkedIn, Mirko Martignon. I have a website, mirkomartignon.it. You can find all of the contacts here and there.
Very good. Excellent. Philip.
Well, my call to action is on the screen. So it's ourchoice.eco. So come find me online, and I'm also on LinkedIn. So hope to talk to you.
Absolutely perfect. And thank you very much, one and all. We will all be in touch very soon. Anybody watching this in the future can, of course, connect with us directly, and with me if you want to be put in touch if you didn't hear how to get in touch with our friends directly. So that brings us to the conclusion of our August session already. Doesn't time fly? We've learned quite a lot this evening. Storytelling has come to the forefront. Thank you to our jury and the startups for playing the game. It's not an easy exercise, and I must say that I was really, really happy to see all of you playing the game. And now my call to action is to all of you. Obviously, you can connect with me and our participants on LinkedIn. You can reach out to me if you would like to be the next startup that comes and pitches in front of a jury of investors and seasoned entrepreneurs. Let's call them like that. And let's call us like that, because that's me too. Please do feel free to reach out to me. I'll send you the link. There is a selection process. We've already got a few lined up for September, October, November, and December. And that's going to be a wrap from me. Once again, thank you so much for joining, and I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.